We just finished up an excellent Fire Emblem Fates Lunatic mode by a lunatic, Gwimpage, and we are now greeted with the presence for the second time by the lovely Allegra Clark.
I'm here for reals this time. My officially scheduled time.
It's quite silly if you weren't. It was crazy if you weren't. Yeah, chat. If you weren't here last week, Chris Hackney had an interview, and Allegra Clark decided that she didn't think he was ready to do it alone. It's a big deal, and he wasn't quite grown up yet. So instead of taking the wheels off of his tricycle, she came in and helped supervise to make sure everything went well. And of course, everything went perfectly. And our beautiful, short 15-minute interview turned into a great, fantastic, wonderful, hour-plus long session that has given me memories of which still don't think I'll ever be able to forget.
The funny thing about that was I sort of just like hopped in I think I joined the Discord that we were using just that day. I can't remember if it was that day or not. And I was just kind of giving Hackney shit about like, oh yeah, maybe I'll like stick around. I meant like hanging out in the Twitch chat and kind of just being a troll during his thing. And then right around like 5 minutes before his stream was supposed to start, I just see the message like, hey Allegra, if you want to like test yourself in the audio chat too. I was like, wait, this is an option? Oh. Oh, I'm going to hang out too then. Which is great because Hackney and we're pretty good friends in the real life, so to speak, in addition to playing husband and wife. So it's always an absolute pleasure getting to chat with him and hang out with him. So I was happy to just tag along for the ride.
Well, Chuck, he was at the con in Anime NYC today. What cons have you been to or been a part of? Even if you haven't been to, like, as a part of, what have you been to? Like, what have you just seen as a con goer?
Well, purely as a con goer, in my dark and sordid past, which actually isn't that dark and sordid, I actually used to be a cosplayer. So mostly for video games and whatnot. So I cosplayed for like Dragon Age, one character in Mass Effect, a bunch of characters for Assassin's Creed. So I did a lot of PAX East and PAX Prime as a result. I've been to New York Comic Con. My hometown is New York City, so I went to New York Comic Con a couple times. And I've been to San Diego Comic Con a few times. But professionally, I have been to Anime Expo, which was my first anime convention. And that was kind of a big one to throw yourself into. And then I also guested at this really small convention up in NorCal called KinyobiCon. It's like 300 people just kind of hanging out, really small artist alley full of incredibly talented people. And I just had the best time. Like, we had like a fun little panel where I got to talk about some of the roles I've played and a bunch of really, it was just great. It was a really wonderful experience. For that to be my first proper guesting thing rather than just like showing up at the Fully Cooley panel for Anime Expo, it was a really nice like tiny con to sort of throw myself into. So yeah.
It's a good place to get your feet wet. That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so do you still go out and cosplay now and stuff, or do you mainly focus on your voice work?
Yeah, I focus on my voice work. All right. So I knew. So when I booked Dragon Age specifically, I knew it was going to be a really big deal, like a really big character, a really big franchise to book, and it was sort of one of my first really big jobs as like high key being in a AAA video game, which to this day still blows my mind. Like, I don't know how I ended up in Dragon Age. It was just like, I don't belong here. But I sort of knew that since one of the costumes I was really well known for was a Dragon Age 2 character, and I sort of knew that if I kept cosplaying that people were going to take it as like, oh, the cosplayer got hired instead of, the trained actress who, went to school studying acting, was in commercials from literally infancy, like something that I do professionally as opposed to this hobby that I do. And I knew that I wouldn't be taken as seriously in my profession if I continued to do the hobby. Now I'm at a point in my career where if I felt like it, I could absolutely go back and start cosplaying again because it's like, you guys know I do it for realsies. So whatever, I'm going to cosplay as Semiramis or something like that. but also I've been through the ringer and I'm old and tired, so I don't think I can do it anymore. Old and tired.
Oh.
That's how I describe myself. I'm 30 and I already feel like I'm 50. I don't know why. Someone help me.
If it helps, I'm 32. We can sympathize with each other.
Hey, old people. Oh, people.
Is stream not working?
Oh,
I
no.
don't.
Okay,
Yeah, it's kind of frozen. Or maybe she's just not drawing.
Oh no.
Maybe she's just sitting there frozen like a deer in the headlights.
Let me
Thinking
restart.
that we're at the Tyrannosaurus Rex in Jurassic Park, and if she doesn't move, we won't notice.
I see, like, restart your stream.
Yeah.
John typed that to get her attention.
I'm restarting it. Process of
Whoopsies.
Very professional, John.
You're welcome. Oh, I didn't want to interrupt Allegra.
Ah.
Yeah,
No, interrupt me. It's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're already in your groove, you know.
Yeah, you know what? I'm paid to talk, so someone should shut me up eventually.
Oh, okay. Well, keep that in mind then.
Yes.
You have written consent.
Yes. Hold on, I'll write this out in the chat right now.
Okay.
I restarted it. Is it not working?
It's chill.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'll put a disclaimer on the stream. So he's like, if you want to interrupt her, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of old, first off,
boy.
no one here is old, but I am curious how long you have officially been in the voice acting thing. You could look at your BTVA, your IMDb, and I'm not sure if that really covers everything. Is there stuff, that we can't really look up from things that you used to do that you consider part of what built you?
Well, I mean, like, a lot of what built me initially was honestly just doing kind of like commercial and some industrial VO. So prior to Dragon Age, none of it was really like stuff that you could find online by any stretch. So Dragon Age was the first thing. I started recording right around, I think I had one session end of 2012, and then we got into the meat and potatoes of it in end of 2013, like fall-ish. So I was working on that for a while simultaneously living in Seattle and working for Amazon, which was an adventure. So yeah, sort of amusingly, what ended up happening was I was in the industry. I was like trying to break into it, but also like working a day job in marketing when I was back in New York. And then I was like, don't know how to be an actor successfully because I'm too nervous about being rejected and I can't do this anymore. So I'm just gonna move to Seattle and work in some sort of like marketing or social media for like a tech company. Meh, that sounds like a good thing that'll totally make me happy and feel fulfilled in my life. And right as I was making plans to move, like I think I had just had my last day at work, I get a message going, "Hey, congratulations! So you've been cast in Dragon Age." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh my gosh.
Well, sure, that throws a wrench in my life, but the wrench was really like, just me. I just moved to Seattle, and I just kept going up and down the coast when I needed to record. It was a lot easier than going across the country every couple of months. It was a lot easier for me. It's just
that's super cool. You're already there. It's a big deal.
Oh yeah, no, because it's like a 2.5-3 hour flight between Seattle and LA. So that was a way easier than the 5.5 hours it would be from New York City. It's someone who still makes that flight plenty. Not having to do it constantly for work sounds great to me. I like that plan. But yeah. So and then after that, I sort of Dragon Age came out 2014. Moved to LA, end of 2015. Booked a couple of things here and there. Really, I started booking a lot more consistently in last year. So I snuck in a couple of video games in 2016. Mostly, though, shit started. See, I already started cursing again. Things started moving in 2017 for me. So first first anime I booked was Hunter x Hunter.
Wait, you booked it, or it was called out for you? Like, did you know when you were going to, like, hey, I want to do a voice in this?
Oh, sorry. When you book something, it just means that like you get the role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So the first anime role that I was cast in was in Hunter x Hunter, followed very closely by Fate Apocrypha, and I was like, okay, sure, yeah, you trust me with this? Sounds great, thank you. 3 characters. You sure this wasn't a mistake? Like, did you just send 1 email to me when you meant like 3 emails to 3 different actresses? No? Cool. Okay, I'll try. So yeah. I was the voice of Zazan in Hunter x Hunter. I was also I call him Sweet Baby Kurt, and also from that arc. Character's name is Kurt, but I call him Sweet Baby Kurt because his role is literally at the beginning of the Chimera Ant arc to just like die really dramatically and painfully. Also, there is like a monster right now. What's going on the stream or someone's audio?
Oh, I heard the little clicking.
Clicking, yeah. Was it coming from me or was it coming from someone else? I can't.
I think it was Sierra's mic, maybe.
Okay.
It's not mine.
There's something going on. There's something going on, CR. We can't see your. Well, you can see your lovely art just as a still picture.
Yeah, it's
I'm trying.
Oh no.
Are you using OBS?
Yes.
Are you dropping frames?
Possibly. Oh no.
Do you know what to look to see where you're dropping frames? It's probably at the bottom of OBS. So I have like a number.
Yeah.
Like, how many? Is there a number greater than 0?
No.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Is there a little green, red, or yellow box?
There's a green box.
Okay.
Huh. I'll keep trying stuff. So.
Well, John tries to assemble his technical prowess and fix this, and CR tries to get her internet to behave. I have at least several more important questions for you, Allegra.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you have done work with Chris Hackney, and you guys obviously get along, even how the other day went.
Yes.
I am curious, though, is there... I mean, you've obviously got your right relationships and friendships with others in the community, but are there any other VAs that you've worked with specifically, like frequently, that you've seen and just bumped into a whole lot? I don't know how it all works with people recording in their studios at home versus going on site, and you're like, oh, hey, look, Erica Harlicker, good to see you again, kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Harlicker, yes, is one of them. I love Harlicker so much. No, I typically work in the studio, so as opposed to doing my home studio is really just for auditioning. I almost never record at home for anything professional. So no, so people I work with a lot. Faye Mata, I work with a lot. She's one of my dear friends, and I adore her. Who have I been working with a lot lately? I feel like Ray Chase and I have been on a lot of projects together because we have, and I adore him. He's also he's a good bean. He's a really great guy. I feel like I've been bumping into Robbie Damon a lot lately too. We're in like a couple of anime together right now. Who else? I mean, there's like a whole like list of people. I feel like I see Laura Stahl a lot lately too. I don't know if you guys know Brad Venable, but he is one of my favorite people. Kira Buckland is a good friend. Greg Chun, who's going to be on later, is a dear friend of mine. Gosh, I feel I could just like list so many people, and you guys would be like, "Oh yeah, I had an extended conversation with Zach Aguilar on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday." Yeah, I don't know.
The clear question should have been, who don't you work with then?
I don't know anymore, honestly. I feel like there's this like 50 degrees of like VO separation sort of a deal, where like you could probably tie me to like a bunch of different actors on like varying projects, even if I've like maybe like I did additional voices on something that they were on, or they did additional voices on something I was on, or something like that. There's still a credit in common. Our characters may have never spoken to each other, but we're still like, we've worked together before. Oh god, Patrick Seitz. I see him a lot. But mostly just as a friend, because I love him, and I'm like trying to like get him to. Yes, I also am. It's true. I am Josuke's mom in Diamond is Unbreakable. So my son, Billy Kametz, is also a very good friend of mine. I don't know if you guys know Billy very well. He sort of like burst onto the scene last year, and he is like one of the sweetest guys, and I adore him. And it's really funny too. It's really funny because one of the gigs we did. Okay, this is funny. I gotta. If I stick around long enough to bump into Greg's stream, I'm gonna like drag him for this too. So we did this like live action dub earlier this year, of some Argentinian show, and my character was in a relationship with Greg's character. Greg's character's brother was voiced by Billy, but I was cheating on Greg with Billy.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that triangle.
Yeah, that's great triangle. And then a few months later, I get booked as Billy's mom, and I'm like, oh, hi. One of my favorite things to do is to describe people as the like character relationships that we've had. Like
your husband, Chris Hackney.
Like my husband, Chris Hackney. My wife, Laura Stahl. She was I voice her mom. Like she's technically like my wife and my son at the same time because I voice her mom. She's the voice of Iger in Beyblade Burst Turbo, I think is the season. It's the third season of Beyblade. I voice her mom in that. But in a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful video game called Labyrinth of Refrain that came out this past September, she was my love interest in it. So she's like my wife and my son at the same time, just as like Billy is both my boyfriend and my son at the same time. It's like, it's really tangled and messy. So sometimes I'll bump into someone, I'll be like, hey, Greg, remember that time I was cheating on you with Billy? And he'll be like, yeah, that was horrible. I'm like, yeah, that was really bad of me, wasn't it? Like that sort of a thing, because I'm that kind of troll of a human being. Like, if you couldn't tell last week when I was like needling at Hackney constantly, I am a giant troll. I'd like to think I'm kind, but yeah, right? I know, it's total shocker. So yeah, God, I feel like I've been either best friends or enemies with Faye. Like, there's just no in between. Because like, well, I mean, Gun Gale, we're not on bad terms necessarily. She's like a competitor, but I don't think Pito has much of an opinion of her. There's another thing that we worked on that we can't talk about yet, in which we play best friends. And then like, Fate Apocrypha, Semiramis spends the entire time being like, ugh, Astolfo, why won't he just go away? So, like, we'll be working, like, one session, we'll be best friends, and then the next session, it'll be, like, murder. Like, it's just life. Actually, on that subject, there was a while where I was working, in the mornings, I would work on this really adorable kids show, which I can't talk about yet. This really adorable thing, in which I played this like sweet mother and everything, and then I'd go down the hall, and I would start working on Gun Gale, and it's like
you were in the same studio, same building.
Yeah, that was sometimes it's in like just down the hall. Like sometimes I'm like going to a different building instead of a different studio, whatever. But like this was literally down the hall. Like I'd be like, okay, bye, Julie. Hey, Alex, let's murder some people. And Julie will be like, what are you doing in there? I'm like screaming, killing people. Like, oh, sorry, I know I didn't do that earlier. Like, it's like sometimes it gives me whiplash. I'm just like, what is going on? And it always seems to happen in little chunks like that. Like some days it's a little bit more spread out, and then there'll just be a week where it's like morning, afternoon, morning, afternoon, morning, afternoon. And my career loves to have it be really contrasting things on the same day, where it makes me kind of go like, okay, so right now I'm a sweet, sweet mom who loves her kids. and then I'm going to be a psychopath. Okay, gotcha. And it's especially great because I actually have like playlists that I listen to get me into the mood for like different characters and whatnot. Sort of like it gets me into a very specific pocket. It's like my pump up playlist when I'm driving. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm playing this character, so I'm gonna listen to like these kick-ass songs or whatever. Very hard to do when you're just walking down the hall and doing something completely different. Completely different. It's like, okay, I've got like about 5 seconds right now to like listen to like a really kick-ass song. Okay, boom, yeah, great, let's do it. Murder, yes. That's my life. Murder, yes.
Well, at least you acknowledge it. You don't hide it. So let me ask you, just out of curiosity then. So you said sometimes you'll go and you'll do one project one day and one project another day. I don't think these recording sessions usually go on for that long, but are there days that you're sometimes just working like for hours and hours and hours doing this?
Well, yeah. So technically speaking, it feels like my sessions, I'm either booked for 15 minutes or I'm booked for 4 hours. That's kind of like the range that tends to be. Typically, you kind of go in for like a 2-hour session or something like that. But like I just went in for pickups on something and I had 3 pickups. So I was technically booked for 2 hours, but my actual recording time was about 5 minutes. So technically, from the calendar perspective, everyone was kind of being cycled in for about in like 15-minute chunks just to make sure there was enough time. But for me, it was like, okay, we're done. Great. Bye. But then the maximum that you can get booked for is about 4 hours. And there have absolutely been days where I had a 4-hour session in the morning, maybe an hour to myself, and another 4-hour session in the afternoon. And those days are, they're rougher. They're pretty exhausting, but they're fun at the same time. It's like, it's fun. It's work, but it's fun work. But yeah. Yeah, it's all over there. It's all over the place.
I'm trying to think. Man, if you're doing something for one of those 3 or 4 hour sessions, do they do the thing where they'll play the video for you and you'll have to kind of sync yourself up with it? Because I remember hearing that sometimes you'll just go in there and they'll say, okay, this is what we need as a voice, and that's it. And other times I've heard that they'll say, okay, they'll play a video and they'll say, you got to sync you up with this. This is the, how your character's, getting up off of a bench or something. So you need to, kind of get with it.
It really depends on the project. When you're doing anime dubbing, obviously you're always working the picture. You get a preview from, and then
I would have stayed that way forever.
You'll do preview, like you'll get the preview. You'll see like the line on the screen in front of you, and then on a screen behind that, you'll see the timing of it in terms of like how the flaps are doing, like how what the flaps are more or less like, how the audio is or isn't syncing up with that. And also how the audio, like what kind of read the original actress was giving. And then also any kind of motion that the actors do. I can't words right now. I'm so sorry. So you're getting a preview of the line so that you could see, get a sense of the tone, see the flap, and then also see what physical motion that the character is doing, and get just kind of a physical context for it, because there's a difference between a line that's like whispered like you're whispering in someone's ear and you're screaming across the battlefield, and obviously that's going to impact the performance. So sometimes it's a matter of watching the video. You get the preview and then you give like 1 or 2 takes, however, like usually 1 in a safety, and then like if your timing is off, you'll kind of drill into for timing things, or you'll get an adjustment on the performance or whatever until it's right. And then other projects, it's just like, here are the lines, you're just going. Sometimes you get a reference if it's like a Japanese project, or like a dubbing project in general. Like, then if it's like a dubbing video game, if there's no picture, you still might get a sense of like, okay, yeah, this is what the character sounded like in the original language, so you have something to work off of. But sometimes you don't. When I recorded for Karla and Ethlyn, I had no idea what the Japanese performances were like. I just got to do my own thing, which was nice. I didn't have to try to necessarily honor. Like, I try to, when I'm hearing the original performance, I try to honor what the actress originally brought to the role. But then sometimes it's kind of freeing to be able to go like, okay, yeah, like, I don't have to necessarily think about what someone else did. This is something that is entirely something that I get to create in this instance. So like, when I work on a lot of Western video games, that's sort of the deal. I don't get a vocal reference. I just kind of dive in. And then, depending on the Japanese game, I either will or won't get a reference. Sometimes it's ADR, so I have to match the picture. And then all anime is match to picture. But all Western animation is me doing my own thing. So it's sort of all over the place. Like sometimes like they'll play your audition for you. Like, hey, this is what you did that we liked. So listen to that. Cool. You got it. Let's go. So yeah.
There's a lot to it. So
there's a lot.
Is there any character that you just, like you said, created that's just like, oh man, I am super attached to this. She's my baby. I love her. I'm going to cherish her forever.
Yes. So my very first baby was Josephine Montilier in Dragon Age Inquisition. I mentioned that was my first video game, my first big project. So I was, I'm still very attached to her. Like, people will say, like, what's your favorite character? What's like the one of the best things you've worked on? And honestly, I have so many good memories attached with recording Dragon Age that I have to give it to that, regardless of what other amazing things I've worked on, because I have worked on some really good projects since then too. Oh my God. But I also just I have such a soft spot for what Dragon Age did for me. And then after that, Semiramis in Fate Apocrypha. Semiramis deserved better. I love her. She is both me and my wife at the same time. Don't ask. A couple things I can't talk about that I'm just very, very, very tied to the characters and would do anything for them, sort of a deal. Pito Hui, now that I can talk about it, Pito in Gun Gale Online is a character that I'm very, very attached to, that I'm so excited to get to share her with you guys. I was dying. All I wanted to do was scream about Pito to everyone. There's in video games, there are two kind of Western games that I have characters that I'm very attached to for very different reasons. One of them is this wonderful little indie game called Rumu. It's like a 3-hour game, and I highly recommend you play it. It's like a narrative thing with some puzzle solving, and it is just a heartbreaking little story, and I adore it. So, I played this character called Sabrina, who's the house AI, and I love Sabrina. Sabrina is really complicated, so I have this like really weird love-hate relationship with her, in the sense that like she's fantastic and I adore her, but she also does some shit that I'm like, I got mild spoilers. I got to this one scene and I started recording it, and my reaction was just, oh my God, am I abusive right now? I'm being abusive. My character is abusive. So like the deep calming breaths I had to take during those scenes were certainly worth things. And then for completely different reasons, I'm in this game. Some of you may have heard of it. It's called Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. And I voice a talking sword in it, and the talking sword does nothing but make dirty jokes, and I love Modware. Modware is a very good character.
Speaking of dirty jokes, I gotta say, Raven just messaged saying he's doing a drinking game with a couple of his friends on every curse that you do.
Oh my God. Y'all, really? Really? Well, then I will just have to work really hard to make sure you get drunk on your birthday then. Hell yeah. Does that one count? Does hell count? I'm gonna make hell count.
It counts. Cat agrees. Give back your birthday hole, Raven.
Yeah. So that's a lot. A lot of really fun roles, some really amazing characters I played. I mean, they're all amazing. Like, I've played some really good characters that I haven't listed. Like, I'm also I have a lot of really good feelings about all three of my ladies from Fate Apocrypha, but Semi is the one that I feel the closest to personally, just as far as like the closest to who I am as a person.
Diabolical?
No! My thing with Semi, and the reason why I really love her is actually because, she's a woman who's placed in this box and who has a lot of expectations placed on her on like how she looks and how she's supposed to act as a result, and what people expect out of her, what people expect her to do for them. And she spends so much time sort of hardening herself as a person, where she's just like, you know what, fine, you think I'm just like, you think I'm just this sex object, you think I'm this horrible person, you think I'm a traitor, this is what you think about me, fine, this is exactly who I'll be. And then Shiro summons her and then just sort of sneaks under all of her defenses, and she stops putting on the guise of who she's supposed to be, like how people expect her to behave, and she starts just being a little bit more genuine, which is why their final scene is all the more heartbreaking for me. It's a really tough scene. Oh my god, I cried during that scene. I cried while recording that scene. So yeah, that was that's why I really like her. There's a certain aspect of her story that sort of sneaks under, to reuse the phrasing I just used. Phrasing. Sneaks under. It snuck under my skin, and it hit really hard at some of my experiences and some of the things that I felt, and as a result, I felt very, very attached to her, which is why I also joke that the scene, the episode 25 ends roughly halfway through that scene between her and Shiro, and nothing else happens after that. Man, wasn't that great? Wasn't it great, guys? That's exactly where it ended. It's over. Yay. Spoilers.
No spoilers.
Count Marks is right. Semiramis did nothing wrong. Hashtag yes.
Let's go to the chat, see if they agree.
Yeah. And also if the chat has any questions about like stuff I've worked on. I think I saw a couple questions whizzing by, so if you have any, I would love to answer them.
Oh, yeah. Let me ask where the chat comes up with some questions. As far as your Fire Emblem voice work.
Oh, yes. I suppose we should talk about that.
A little bit about that. If we want to, I guess. I mean, we're going to be here for a while. One, have you played Heroes to any sort of significant degree? And two, have you played any of the other Fire Emblem games at this point?
Oh, my God. No. I haven't. I'm so bad. So the reason why I haven't played Heroes is because I know how much money I'd spend on it. I know myself. And I already spend money on other mobile games. And I can't do that to my heart. Mostly my bank account.
That's fair. You realize it. I remember you mentioned it last time, but
yeah, I'm a big whale.
You will save yourself from the gotcha gods.
Oh, yeah. No. That's why instead what happens is when my characters become summonable, like in general, like when Ethlyn and Karla went live, and also in when people were playing on the Japanese server for Fate Go, and like Semiramis was added to the game, and Adelante Altar was added to the game, I was like, gotcha, be praised. I am praying for you. I will give individual blessings for anyone who's trying to pull for these characters, because I know what my luck would be, and I would never get them. And I would be so angry. And I would spend all my money until I got my characters, and that's all I would care about. It's all I would fucking care about. Oops, there we go. Hi. It happened. I cursed. I cursed hard.
Raven.
Yeah, it's true. Ethlyn is free, but also I have to spend money to get good at that game. No, so I'm already a whale in this. You guys are gonna laugh at me. I play this game called Love Nikki Dress Up Queen, which you think is like, oh, it's a frilly little dress up game. No, that game is hardcore, like stat and inventory management. Like you go in, you make sure that you make these like monstrosities of clothing to just like maximize your scores, to get like you maximize like the points that you have to get these really high scores, so you get like really good things, so you can get more outfits that also give you good scores, and also it's really pretty. But like when you're competing, it's like none of the outfits make sense. They're ugly as hell, and they just like they murder your eyes, but they give you lots of loot. So that's Love Nikki Dress Up Queen. And also I'm Pokemon Go trash. And yes, I am playing Let's Go right now. I'm specifically playing Let's Go Pikachu because my girlfriend got Let's Go Eevee because she loves Meowth, and Meowth is exclusive to Let's Go Eevee, and I would be a bad person if I didn't let her chain 300 Meowths until she got a shiny. Like,
oh my gosh.
What kind of girlfriend would I be? Oh yeah, she's been chaining Geodude for the while. She's just like, I just want a shiny. I don't particularly care which shiny right now, and there are a lot of Geodudes around here, so I'm gonna do it. She's chained like 70 plus at this point. I was chaining Pikachu in the Viridian Forest, and it's supposed to be 31. Increases your odds of actually getting a shiny, and at 16, I just happened to stumble on a shiny Pikachu. Like,
oh.
Yeah. Shiny Pikachu is amazing.
The only shiny I've ever gotten was Gyarados, and that's the one the game gives you.
Oh, yeah, but shiny Gyarados is, like, amazing. So
That was a badass Pokemon, of course. Oh, sorry, I guess I slipped a little bit there. Sorry, Raven.
Also, yes, I did catch shiny Pikachu. I'm specifically walking around with a Pikachu on my shoulder, and then you can also set another Pokemon to be following you around. And that Pikachu, the shiny one, is also following me around. So I've got 2 Pikachu in my party. If I were taking the game seriously from a actual gameplay standpoint, because you don't have to take Let's Go seriously from a gameplay standpoint, because the game is really easy in kind of a delightful way. It takes all the pressure off of a normal Pokemon game where you're going around. The only battling you're doing is against trainers and gym leaders. Anytime you catch a Pokemon, it gives XP to your entire party. So the concept of having to find the EXP share is now gone. It just automatically does it. And it's really easy. So I can be like, yeah, whatever. I'll just walk around with 2 Pikachu. I don't care. I don't need a particularly strong party right now. Eventually I might regret it. But for now, I'm going to have a Pikachu and a Pikachu that's shiny. 1 Pikachu in a hat and another Pikachu that sparkles. And that's how I'm going to live my life right now.
I need to make a decision on which one to get, but it doesn't really matter which one I get. My little story here, I'll try and make it quick. My daughter, and we took her to Disney World for the first time to meet a bunch of our other family members. She was 8 months old, and we went walking around at Epcot Center. And the interesting thing about what we did is, we just had her in a stroller. We were just walking around in the Japan store in Epcot, which if you're not sure, or if you're unfamiliar with Epcot and Disney, that is where you go if you want anime plushes or any sort of gaming merch. They've got all sorts of stuff there. So we were just walking along, and I was looking with my son, who's older. He was 8 years old at the time, and I turned my back, and Alexis reached out from the stroller and just grabbed a Mew and just started sucking on its tail. And I turned around and looked in the stroller, and bam, there it was in her mouth. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we're getting this. And she's at a sleepover party tonight with a friend, and she brought me with her. She's 8 years old now, and instead of 8 months old back in Disney, she still is one of her 2 specials, as she calls them. And so now, really whatever cute. I get, I just have to get that Pokeball that gives you Mew, so that way she can carry Mew around with her.
Yeah. So my recommendation is whichever one you get, get the bundle, because it'll be a little bit cheaper than buying the game and the Pokeball separately.
Oh, so. And yes, we paid for it, chat. Yes, we paid for it.
Favorite. Oh, speaking of Pokemon and thefts, I'm going to share my shame with you guys, because I'm feeling like it. So, when I was 10 years old, I stole Pokemon cards.
Yes. Oh, is stream working now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great.
I was a thieving thief. So, I was really into Pokemon cards at the time. And I had this collection. I banded together and had a collection with a couple of my friends. And we went into a store to get some Pokemon cards and whatnot. And we opened a pack. We bought a pack and we opened it, and they weren't good cards. We already had 16 of them, and we were trying to get something specific. And so we being 10 went up, and we were like, we really don't like the pack we got. Can we just get another one? Because that's how stores work. Just, hi, I don't like this thing that I got out of a blind box. Can I just get another blind box for free? Okay, thanks. Yeah, definitely how it works. And the women at the register were like, yeah, no. So my friend and I were very salty about this, and we went back to her place, and we're like, it's not fair. I didn't want another Kabutops holographic card. It sucks. It was Kabutops. I can't believe I remember that. It was I don't like this Kabutops card. I don't want this. And so we were like, we're gonna steal some. So my friend had Spanish tutoring that she had to do that afternoon. So I had to go and do the crime. And so when she was doing that, I was like, okay, I guess I'll go to the store while you're working. And I went down to the store again, and I went up to the floor with the toys and stuff. And I was like looking around at all the stuff, casing the joint and everything. And went and I like picked up a pack of Pokemon cards and was like, do I want to get another one? Like loudly talking to myself, don't want to get another one. I don't know if I'm going to get another one. Put it back down, but secretly kept one in my hand and started looking at like the Sailor Moon trading cards and was like sort of thumbing through them with like the pack of Pokemon cards still in my hand, like, oh, I really like these cards. I'd get them, but they don't have a Sailor Venus pack, and Sailor Venus is my favorite character. I'm like saying this to the woman at the register, and she's just like, honey, I don't care, are you spending money? I'm like, no, I'm not going to spend money. And I just sort of slip the pack of Pokemon cards into my coat jacket. And then I realized, because I'm from New York City originally, so this was like a 4-story like little store that had like a bunch of different levels. And to get to the elevator that would bring you down, there was like one of those the security sensor things. And I was like, now I gotta see if I'm gonna sneak through with my Pokemon cards. So I like was looking, there was like a rack of stuffed animals next to the sensors, and I was like, okay, and I'm like taking a look at the stuffed animals and like kind of like going, do I want this, and sort of surreptitiously trying to pass it in front of the sensor to see whether or not it's going to go off. It doesn't, so eventually I decide it must be safe, put it back, walk over to the elevator, in the clear so far, get in the elevator, take the elevator down, get down to the first floor. There's another one at the front door. What is baby Allegra gonna do? I did the same thing, but with like a pack of like the Sour Patch straws instead, which definitely wouldn't have set off the thing. Like if like candy would not set off like one of those security things. But I was like, do I feel like candy? Wave, wave, wave. Do I feel like candy? Wave, wave, wave. And there was even like a security guard there being like, this child is weird. I'm like, I don't feel like candy. I put it down, walk through the door. Nothing. I am fine. I am safe. I get outside, round the corner just a little bit, and then bolt back over to my friend's place. Like the baby criminal that I am. Go upstairs. Man, that card was full of bad cards too. Like that was not worth my like.
Well, after all that panic.
After all that panic, all of that, I could have gone to juvie for really bad cards. So eventually, I carried this secret in my heart for years. Oh, by the way, our binder full of Pokemon cards was stolen from my locker after that, so I think that was karmic justice. But
karma got back to you.
Oh, that was such a painful day. I think I know who stole it, but I can't prove it, but like to this day, like it's been 20 years and I'm like, I know who took my cards. So years yet later, I must have been like 20 at this point. I'm like hanging out with my mom in like my mom and dad's bedroom, and we're just kind of chatting, and like the dog's in the bed and I'm petting the dog or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, mom, I have to tell you, I stole Pokemon cards when I was like 10 years old. And she was like, okay, Allegra, like, I mean, it's been 10 years, so anyway, I'm a criminal.
You're punished.
I'm a criminal. I shoplifted when I was 10 years old. The police are gonna come after me now because I admitted it on the internet.
That's right. They don't know where to find you. They don't know that you're at 123 Main Street, something
No!
Burbank, California.
No! So yeah, that's my shame. That is my Pokemon related shame. So your daughter.
Now we have to imagine Ethlyn as a common shop thief.
Yeah, because Karla would be very dutiful about it, but like Ethlyn, I think would be very nervous the entire time, like me. Like Ethlyn would have been me in this situation. Like, I don't know how to be bad. I don't know. I am trying to rebel right now, but I don't know how to do it. So I should gonna keep waving a stuffed animal in front of the security things. See if it goes off.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, your daughter did not actually steal a Mew plushie, but I stole something. Yes.
Oh my God. Every time we talk, it's a new story with you, and I absolutely love it.
It's true.
Is there like a
really
statute of
weird
limitations for thefts when you were a kid?
I think I'm probably in the clear. Look, you guys don't have anything on me. I haven't told you what the name of the store is. Ha ha! I wonder if it still exists. I'm actually going to look this up right now and see, does that store still exist?
Ooh, while you're checking that, Hero King Samuel in chat wants to know if there's someone that you voiced in Guts.
Guts.
Berserk, maybe?
Yes, Berserk. Yes, I was Slan in Berserk.
Yes.
The whore princess of the uterine sea is her full name, or her title. Yeah. I had a lot of chuckles about that one.
That's her name. That must be really awkward when meeting new people at parties.
Yeah, it is. Is that
Hey folks, welcome Greg Chun to the party.
Greg! What?
Hello.
Greg Chun, Allegra is confessing to her terrible, terrible youth and things that she should never have done, so...
Yeah, Greg, I shoplifted when I was 10. It was a pack of Pokemon cards. I was a rebel.
Well, it looks like I came right back in time then.
I cannot
Hey, Greg.
You'll never look at me the same way, Greg. Hey, Greg, remember that time I cheated on you with Billy Cam?
I do remember that, and that's still upsets me. I'm not over that, and I don't see that happening.
Rip in pieces.
Oh, remember that time when... Oh, wait, no, I can't talk about that one. Never mind.
Which one? Is it the one... not the thing that we just announced.
No, not that one.
Wait, what else is there?
The other thing where you were part of the squad, and there's, like, really bad stuff going down.
Oh! Yeah! Oh, the thing that I really, 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 really want to be announced, and I have no idea when it's going to be announced, but I will freak out when it is.
I know. Yeah. You all know when it is. You all
because we'll all be flailing. It's
Let's just
so
say,
good.
Surprise, Allegra is sassy.
It's true. It's like someone recently said to me on Twitter, like, well, I'm kind of noticing a trend of characters that you voice, Allegra. Like in particular, the ones that were called out just now were like, wow, like Aishella from Grandcrest and Peter Hui, like, really? Like, I've noticed you're kind of voicing these kind of like really murderous women, aren't you? And I was like, it's either murderous women or mom. Josephine was the exception to the rule and not the rule. And he was like, yeah, you do voice a lot of bad women, don't you? I'm like, I do voice a lot of bad women.
Yeah,
a lot of really bad women.
Wait a second. They announced who you were actually playing in Grandcrest?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. Wait.
They did?
Yeah. It's in the video. I think you're announced too.
Yeah, I just didn't know that. I thought they just said like, "Oh, Greg's in it," but I didn't know that they actually said who I am.
Yeah, they specified. So at the video that they posted with the trailer, it had like, it had some of the like characters in it. I don't think your voice was featured, but it did say like, oh, and also like at the very end, it had like a little cast list in it, and your character was listed there.
That is awesome.
And of course, I saw hero voicing, and I was like, of course, it's Greg. Of course, it's Greg. This beautiful voice, Greg Chun.
No.
It's definitely so. I mean, the chat is definitely loving you.
It's true.
Yeah, they are hungry for some Greg Chun right now.
It's true. I'm hungry for some Greg Chun right now.
Oh my!
Oh my! They're hungry for some Greg Chun.
Oh, hello there.
And excuse us as we head into a private chat room.
Oh goodness! I know we're supposed to be on stream right now talking to you all, but we've decided we're going to go elsewhere. Goodbye now.
Oh my! All right. Well, I guess we're back to drawing with Tekken. Thank you, CR, for all of beating up the technical issues. She finally won, by the way. She's been able to
Yes.
stream. I don't know, Greg, if you can see the Twitch, but Allegra is in the chat, and she was on the chat to take a look at the Twitch. Greg, you actually have a artist on board. Her name is Tekken, or shucks, their name is Tekken. I'm terrible with genders. Are you on the Twitch? You can actually see an outline of something that was already done.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
The Extra Life, Twitch.
It's twitch.tv/r Fire Emblem Heroes.
.tv dot slash
Slash.
Fire
Emblem Heroes.
Emblem Heroes. Let's see where this takes me.
Takes you to a
So
beautiful,
you've got a time machine.
beautiful art.
It's unavailable, it says. What? It's not letting me see it. How upsetting.
Oh, Greg,
What?
you gotta pay for full version of Twitch so you don't have to deal with ads. But that's it.
Really?
Uh,
I don't know. Oh, did you R Fire Emblem Heroes? The letter R first?
yeah,
I did
I've
not.
added to it.
Nope.
I just sent you the
Arr.
link again.
Not talk like a pirate day. I know I missed it.
There it is.
Our Fire Emblem Heroes.
Hey, check it out. Oh my
I just
gosh.
sent you the link again.
I cannot stand,
Our Fire Emblem
like, not in a bad way.
Heroes.
Check it out. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you've got your
Yeah.
sound
Oh,
on.
you may have to mute the Twitch player.
I just did.
Oh, you may. No, Greg will have to mute his Twitch player. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Did it work?
Yeah, I think it's fine. We were
Sounds
able to. It was picking up Twitch ourselves through your speakers in your high quality microphone that I wish I had.
Hey, it's okay. Double to Greg.
Double Greg, man.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody asked if I enjoyed voicing Rosh in Radiant Historian. I have to say that was one of my favorite things that I've done, because it was a slightly different voice for me. I got to kind of dig in a little bit more, and a lot of stuff that I'm known for, I think is a little bit kind of smooth and airy. And so Rosh was, when he was downtrodden, it went more into that place, because that's just where I go emotionally. But it was fun to kind of voice someone who sounded like he was a little bigger. So yeah, I loved it. Always such small characters, such compact characters.
Chat's blowing up. You can see chat on the right, Greg. Everyone is excited that you're here, and everyone's excited. Oh my gosh, that Allegra's here. This is a duo that nobody was expecting, and everyone is happy for.
Just
Well, I
chat
probably
is-
should let Greg do the thing. But first,
no.
certainly before I leave, I have to say, someone wanted to know what your views on the gay agenda are.
Oh my.
I'm sorry, just in general, you mean?
Someone asked. Yes, the gay agenda. With my
What is the gay
agenda. The gay agenda is whatever I feel like it is on.
What? I'm sorry, are we talking politics?
It cut out a little bit.
Oh, it did? Sorry. Can you hear me?
I got
Yes,
you
I
now.
Yeah, the gay agenda is whatever I say it is on any given day. Anything
Oh.
I do is the gay agenda.
100% support it.
Hey, yeah, see, there we go.
That easy?
All right, I'm sorry, Greg. You'll have to take this to Kyle McCarley. I mean to Soren, and see what you guys understand for the gay agenda then.
Real.
Today-
Quick here.
Today's gay agenda, everyone, is telling Greg how amazing he is, because he is one of my favorite people and I adore him.
Oh, honey, you're so sweet. I adore you.
I love you. I miss you. When are we going to see each other in person again?
Hopefully next week in the studio at some point. I miss your hugs.
Yeah, I'm only going to be in. I leave on Tuesday for Thanksgiving, so unless you're in on Monday or Tuesday, I'm probably not going to see you. But
Well, darny shucks.
yeah, I know.
We'll
Well-
just have to wait until next time. I
We'll
love you
just
guys too.
I am going to let you go. Everyone love on Greg for me. I should go back to this dinner party that I'm at.
All right, Allegra,
Oh my.
thank you so much for hopping in during your party.
No
Fancy.
worries. No worries.
Yeah.
My pleasure, y'all.
Have a nice night. Enjoy your party.
Best Allegra.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Greg. I love you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh man, that was great. We've had a lot of double chemistry going on. Last week she hopped on during Chris Hackney's interview session, and it went from about a 15-20 minute interview to it may have been around 2-hour blitz of just her beating up on Chris the entire time. It was just a fun time. She was good fun chat overall.
Yes, shout out to all the cheesecake refs. Woo! If you guys asked a question and I didn't answer, it's because I didn't see it, so please ask it again.
A lot of questions. I'll go with the first one I saw that came up when you came. What is the next recipe you'll be reading? The next question, though, is what inspired you to get into voice acting? I feel free to either answer or.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, and I'll make this story as short as possible. My previous career, as some of you may know, and still half of my current career, is a music composer and producer. And I happened to do a theater show where I was directing, conducting the show. It was this musical called The 10 Commandments that was playing in Hollywood at the then Kodak Theater with Val Kilmer playing Moses. And incidentally, Adam Lambert, now lead singer of Queen, was also in my cast, and Alison Porter, winner of The Voice a few seasons ago, was there. So it was an amazing, amazing cast. But the thing is, one of the female leads was a woman by the name of Nita Whitaker, one of the most incredible singers on the planet. Her husband was a man by the name of Don LaFontaine, who some of you may know was the trailer voiceover king of the world. All of the "In a World Where One Man," like all that stuff was done. So we became friends. I got to watch him work. I met a bunch of his voiceover peeps, and that's how I realized people do this for a job. So that was my intro to the world.
Okay. Well, wow, you've been doing this for a while then, and you've got so much expertise. Everyone here, or at least not everyone, but a lot of people know that you are responsible for what was that new song in that new video game that's coming out really soon? I think it's Super Smash Brothers.
Oh yes. Did the singer announce who she was? Can I talk about that or no?
Rena was on earlier, and I believe that she announced who it was, but I'm not sure myself. I need to double check and see.
She didn't.
She didn't announce who it was. Rena just said it wasn't her.
She didn't know.
Oh, she said that. Okay.
Let's see. Let me see if it's on her Twitter.
Ooh, it's a her. Dropping clue.
I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. Where is it?
Oh my.
When was the song? When did it drop about?
What, 2 days, 3 days ago, maybe?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't think she's announced yet, so I can't talk about it. But yes, I directed the vocals on that, and that was super fun and awesome. Really fun tune, really challenging. The vocalist who was who ended up doing it, she killed it, and we put her through the ringer, man, because it was a big deal, and like we really wanted to make sure that it was banging, and in the end she did an amazing job, but we didn't let her get away with anything, man. I mean, she's amazing, but when you get in the studio, I don't know how many folks out there produce music, it's all in the details, and it's not just like, oh, that was nice, let's all go home. I mean, you really harp on words and syllables and inflections and vowels and everything. So it was pretty grueling, but I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Can you share how many takes it took or how long it took to get it? I can't imagine it was, like you said, it was a first try or second try.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. The thing is, like, she lays, the first take, it's pretty much, because she's so talented, it pretty much comes out and you're like, yep, great. But then it's our job to really dissect it and go, try. A lot of it is not that we can't use that. It's more like, what if we were to try this? Or maybe when you approach this chorus for the second time, why don't we give it a little more juice and kind of amp up the energy and the intensity? So you play in the studio and you try different things, not unlike when you're doing voiceover work. And so in the end, it's kind of a process that the vocalist and the director and the clients all find the performance together and go, I really like what we did on that last one, the direction that it's heading. What if we were to go back and inject more of that into the first verse, blah, blah, blah. So it's a whole collaborative process that I really, really love. It's really rewarding.
Well, that's pretty cool. It's so cool that you pay so much attention to all the detail in there. And I know you did work. Chat's starting to bring up a few other points of some other work, and especially tracks that you did. and offer direction on, including the song from Super Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
You've done that. Is there anything else big that you're proud of that you'd like to share with us that people might not know about? Because I'll tell you, every time we've talked, both last Extra Life when you joined us and this year, it's a good chunk of chat just doesn't know. It's really cool to help people learn about things that you've done that just people had no idea about.
Yeah. I one that is I think it was at E3, and it was the release trailer for the next Fire Emblem sort of chapter, and there was at the end of it there was a does anybody remember hearing that at the end of the trailer? How did it go? How did it go? Do you guys remember?
I can't remember off the top of my head. Reach for my hand.
How did what it go?
Reach for my hand.
Yes.
I'll store it away.
COXEs and Zero Night. Yes, you guys are all right. So that one I worked on as well, and that is cool too. But I just love that tune, and I love just the emotional intensity of that moment. You know what I mean? And then there's another one coming up that I can't talk about, but it's gonna be sick. It's so, man, I can't wait for y'all to hear it.
I'm excited. Every time someone comes on and says, I got a project I'm in the works with, you're going to be so happy when you hear it. It's going to be a good hit. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I have a few ideas of what I'll guess it is. And of course, I won't mention it because NDAs. I don't want to make your life any more difficult, but I have a hope. I have a guess, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed about it. I guess if you don't mind, a couple of people in chat are asking some questions if you've seen them, and if you don't mind answering a couple of them, I'd love for us to maybe pick a couple of. One, I don't know if you're able to do lines or any line quotes, just because last year I remember it was a little bit restrictive.
I would so love to, but it's one thing that I've learned, and I've gotten close to like burning bridges before, that it's just something that I steer clear of. You know what I mean? I would love to do it for you guys, honestly, but it's the type of thing where you never know who's listening, and then all of a sudden you're in hot water. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen people get in a lot of trouble. Yeah.
That's 100% fair, and it's tough because I want to tell everyone, we can get everyone to do a little bit of everything, but the last thing we want to do is put you guys in an awkward position and result in some trouble coming up, because you're right, it's super easy. In this world, your voice is your talent, and it's your qualifier, and the last thing you want to do is do something that would jeopardize it. So I definitely respect that.
Oh my gosh, thank you for understanding. But I love all you guys. I really wish I could jump in, because I love doing that stuff. I love joking around in character and saying ridiculous things like we do in the sessions, just sort of like, you know what I mean? You're working for long hours on these things, and so people get punchy, and it's hysterical. And I wish that sometimes like more bloopers and more outtakes were shared with everybody. It'd be really fun.
Well, if you can't give us any lines of dialogue, which again I understand, do you have any characters that you maybe want to talk a little bit about in terms of your attachment? Like, you voice some of the most, I would say, most infamous characters in Fire Emblem. You voice Ike, who is in Super Smash Brothers, and he has been a main staple for now what will be 3 games once Ultimate is released. You voiced Ephraim, I always butcher that, who is one of the main lords of the second Fire Emblem game to be released stateside. It's gigantic. How does it feel to have that sort of expectation of slasher reality to live up to?
I mean, honestly, it's a lot of pressure, but if I think about it too much, I start to freak out, and so I kind of said to myself, look, do your best. Some people are going to like you, some people are going to hate you, and that's going to kind of be the way it is for everything that you do, and all you can hope for is that the people that you do that do enjoy your performance and stuff, you just hope that you can make the gaming experience a rewarding one for them, so I kind of I flip-flop back and forth from feeling a lot of pressure and starting to worry, and then catching myself saying, look, you can't live this way, because as you accumulate more and more projects, there's more and more people that you're potentially going to disappoint. And that's just kind of crushing if you actually sit and give too much thought to it. So I just try and have fun with it and really do my best to get in tune with my director. And like I said, for those people who it resonates with them, that's the gratification. That's the reward for us.
Was there anyone you've just really taken a huge amount of pride in voicing then? Anyone in particular that you can think of? Or, I mean, because you've done a lot, either Fire Emblem-wise or just in general in your career.
I'll tell you at this point, and the funny thing is, the real answer to that one, I can tell you about next summer, and actually probably next year. But up till now, as far as what's public, he really had a good time voicing Raz from Valkyria Chronicles 4. It was kind of a different character than what people are used to hearing from me. And so, personally, because he swears a lot. I don't know if people have heard that a lot.
Greg, you're a dad. You and I don't swear.
Never. Never slammed the door and cursed the day we were born. But the process of Raz and everything was just, there were a lot of emotional ping pong. He really went all over the place. You know, there were parts that were really, really serious and gut wrenching. There were other parts that were just hilarious. Because Raz is a dirty perv, and he just has no tact, or you know what I'm saying. And so it was really fun to kind of unleash on some of that. I don't know how many folks in the Fire Emblem community play Valkyria Chronicles 4, but that is a character that I'm very, very proud of and had so much fun doing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've interviewed a few other people, Kaiji Tang, among some others that are voices in Valkyria Chronicles 4 have talked greatly about it and loved that they were a part of it too. And it's like everyone who's done voices for it has just said, oh, man, I loved it. I did a character I don't normally do, and it turned out really well. And it's funny to even hear that from you, someone who I just look to as like a mainstay. But like when I hear you, I think Ike, and I think Lukas, really, which a lot of other people in chat think of. And now I'm trying to think of you just flip-flopping that around and just being a totally different person. That's crazy. It's entertaining.
Yeah. It was interesting. And actually, Erica Mendez and I we loved Valkyria Chronicles 4 because we were sort of involved with each other in that game, and we just really loved our chemistry and our dynamic. You know what I mean? I don't know if KG talked about it, but did he mention he's the voice of the player character for Fallout 76?
Did he? I don't know. We talked last week, and I don't think that it was able to be talked about at that point.
Oh my gosh, it's huge. Now it's out now. And it's amazing. What an amazing role, you know what I mean? But he's super rad, dude. He does so much great stuff.
Man, you all and some people in the voice community, you're all buddies. You all know each other and celebrate each other's rewards and successes. I really am happy. I'm happy to see that. I know a bunch of other people in here are. Gosh, what about your reaction to things that aren't necessarily your successes as specifically related to your voice work? Like, I guess your voice career, like you reciting a cheesecake recipe.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's super fun. I mean, I thought about like, what do I want to do next? You know what I mean? Because
ASMR,
that was so unexpectedly just fun for people to, that people responded to, and I had such a great time. But I said, maybe we'll just read a bunch of other recipes, but then I'm like, well, that's going to make the cheesecake recipe less special though, and we've done that. So I just love that is what that is. And the next thing that I honestly have had a lot of ideas for sort of doing other narrations or sound things for folks, but it's just been such a busy year. I haven't had the chance to get around to it. But trust me, there was something I'm working on that I think people are really gonna like. It's like I said, as soon as I have the time, most likely early next year, because the industry does slow down a little bit in January. I'm gonna get to it then, and I hope to release it sometime for folks. It'll be a lot longer than the cheesecake video.
Well, that's all you had to say. We'll have to get some more fans to make some more pins of it and everything, because man, that just took off.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And I'm just like, that's what I love so much about the fan community and stuff, is that just you never know what's gonna like become a thing, and that's so exciting. It's like to know just the potential of creative people out there, like when the artists got a hold of it and stuff, and other people doing kind of imitation videos. Like it's just fun. It's just a good time, and I really appreciate that about folks just jumping in and doing stuff like that.
Well, speaking of folks, I'm going to take a second here and just kind of let you know where we're at. We did receive a bunch of donations since you've arrived, over $100 in the past few minutes, which has been amazing. One of which is a $10 donation from Dendris. I set my alarm just to catch you, Greg. Looking forward to your Ike in Smash. And then $130 cumulative from Anonymous, Robert Keefe, and Mitt. It's been really cool. They don't have any messages, but just so you know where we're at, you helped us last year, and if you recall, you were kind of on towards the tail end of the stream. And when we ended up wrapping everything up, we were at $3,540 for our cause, which is the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals charity funds. And this year, so far, we still have 12 more hours to go next Saturday, as well as a couple more hours, a little while longer tonight. We are at a grand total right now of $6,425, which is almost double the amount that we worked on last year.
That's amazing, dude.
So it's you helping out this year. Coming back was a huge attention gatherer, and as just mentioning your name was an absolute magnet for positivity and energy. And of course, other VAs have jumped in to help too. But I can't thank you enough for coming on. It was really great to have you.
Oh, of course, man. Of course.
Team.
You can count on my support again this year. I don't have the link in front of me, but I love what you guys are doing, and it's just such a fun way to connect with folks and everything. And so, yeah, you can for sure count on me again.
Oh yeah, we love your work too, Greg. It's amazing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the other folks on the stream I was seeing scrolling across were asking about the how I got started in the music business, and that was actually, it's interesting. I had left LA back in 2001, and I went back to grad school, and I was going to teach computer science. And so I was doing the PhD program down at UCSD in computer science and degree, and then after that I was sort of like looking at the research that I had started, and it just wasn't really inspiring me. I really didn't think it was going to amount to much, and so I didn't really know. So spending another 3+ years getting this PhD when I wasn't really excited about my research, I mean, I couldn't imagine it, and it was too late to sort of switch research. So at the same time, my friends who had moved to LA were calling me saying, hey, do you want to do music for our short film or this or that? So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give my music career one last shot. And I came back, and through some friends from undergrad, I was able to meet some folks who did music for reality TV and for commercials. And so that's how I got started.
That's not as complicated of a history as I thought it was going to be. I was
I know, it's totally nuts. But then, then after, when I got back, actually one of my first projects was some friends who had talked to me while I was away. They brought me in to write music for the 2004 MTV Movie Awards. And I wrote, it was literally like a 12, 13 seconds of music to be in the background of a Lindsay Lohan sketch that was on stage during the show. And what happened was I ended up sitting next to the Lonely Island at the show. That's how I met them. And this was before they did SNL. This is the Lonely Island, for those people who may not know, is Andy Samberg and Akiva Schaffer and Jorma Taccone. They're sort of responsible for all the SNL digital shorts from Saturday Night Live. I met them back then, and over the years I've gotten to work with them on various things, and that's the musical comedy is now kind of, I think, my favorite kind of music work. It's a lot of fun.
Do you have anything in there that you'd like to say that you've either done recently that you can announce or say or advertise for us to check out?
I don't know if people, this is kind of funny. I mean, how old are folks on this stream? Like, can we talk about stuff that isn't necessarily meant for kids?
Well, I mean, it's probably past most young children's bedtimes.
Yes, that's true.
This is late night, and we've already had Allegra Clark on stream in the past to talk about things in late. So I would say chat spamming the ages, nothing under 17.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we're okay. I mean, here's the thing. It's not like it's just be
Greg, I didn't even know you knew that word. Gosh.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's PG-18.
There's on Netflix. There's a show called the Michael Bolton Big Sexy Valentine's Day Special, and I was the music producer on that, and we wrote, got to work with Michael Bolton and a bunch of his celebrity guests. Wrote a song for Maya Rudolph and for Randall Park and Sarah Silverman, and so it was one of the first kind of variety show type things that I got to do. So now I'm actually working on a 6-episode comedy special for Netflix again. I can't mention who the comic is, the main guy, but he's hysterical, and we're going to be in post probably through the first quarter of next year. So I think it's probably going to drop on Netflix next summer. Next summer is going to be a great summer for me to announce stuff, because that, as well as probably what's going to be, I think, what people may remember me by when I'm dead and gone as a voice actor, is going to be dropping next summer as well.
You got a lot of projects going on for next year.
Well, it's got to try and keep busy, man. You know how it is.
Well, let me ask you this then. You are, of course, a family man. Do you get to involve any of your either, I guess, direct family or immediate relatives, or even your little one, into anything that you do? Do you get to bring them to work? So do they get to play around with stuff? I don't know if there's a lot they can do, but
yeah, not really. I mean, I've brought folks to the studio just to meet people and all that kind of stuff. But my work is pretty separate from my family. If ever there was an opportunity to get their voices into something, I would certainly take it. But so much of what we do is just like screaming and all sorts of craziness and dying, and that's not really my thing. So I don't know. At some point I was thinking it'd be fun to make like a sound library of baby sounds, and just like throw it out to editors to see if it could land in some silly movies or whatever. But who has the time? You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of building up a sound library, if you're familiar enough with Fire Emblem Heroes, as it's been booming over the past, 2 years now, pretty much, and the other Fire Emblem stuff, 3 Houses, I'm assuming you've at least heard about. Of course, we won't talk about it anymore. Do you have any characters in Fire Emblem that you happen to know about one way or the other that you've ever, I guess, either gotten to know about and would like to voice that don't already have a voice?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm familiar enough to even be able to comment on that. I mean, it's one thing I will say though is that if I were to be brought back into Fire Emblem again to do somebody else, I would really, really insist that it be a character that just doesn't sound like the others at all. I wouldn't want it to be another sort of young hero. I would have to be somebody probably significantly older, I think, for me to want to do it. So many of the young characters, and the thing that makes me nervous about it is that I don't like when fans get frustrated that the characters don't, they sort of, it breaks the, I think sometimes it takes them out of the game and out of the illusion and out of the experience when it hits them and goes, oh, Lukas kind of sounds a little bit like Ike or Ephraim or whatever, So I think for as far as like future work with Fire Emblem, I love the franchise and I'd love to be a part of it, but I would kind of insist that we've got to do a character that's really, really different from everybody else.
Well, and is there any, I guess you can't really say it now, of course, but shucks, I guess I can't really ask that. You can say if there's just any character in any sort of form of media that you could think of, maybe like a live series that if it was ever turned into an animated spin-off that you would say, man, I wish I could voice that or something.
Oh, I wonder. I had never thought about that.
Or maybe a book that you've read and you're like, man, if this was portrayed in television somehow, Percy Jackson's got a television series, I'd love to voice one of these characters, something like that.
Oh, right.
Maybe if there was an Octopath sequel, would you like to voice, is there some character trope in that you'd like to carry through? Going at Seoxys, what they said in chat, obviously.
You know what? You know who I would freaking love to give a shot at sometime is Batman, honestly. And I know, obviously, every voice actor in the world would love to do Batman, but it's such to kind of dark, tormented characters, I think. And to be able to play in that emotional space, I think would be really, really interesting. But you know what I mean? Like there's that's just sort of like if I could snap my fingers and make reality happen the way I want, you know what I mean? But it would be an interesting challenge because I would definitely have to dig into sort of my lower range a little bit more, and the kind of I generally exude, I think, a gentle, peaceful vibe a lot of the time, and that would have to kind of go away to a degree in order to really properly convey the troubled nature of the characters we know, you know.
I'm just trying to imagine you as Batman. I'm sorry. It totally. I can see it, but I'm just thinking like, man, I never even considered that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'd be a stretch for anybody to even try and wrap their head around that. You know what I mean? But sort of any of the sort of I think the Marvel or DC superheroes that I really the Flash I love. You know think of who else might be what people might expect from me. You know what I mean? But probably Robin. I'd have a better shot at Robin than Batman. But it'd be fun to play somebody like the Scarecrow too. I think that could be super cool. You know, maybe if we're thinking like villains and that kind of thing, there could be a lot of fun ideas there. You know.
Ooh, interesting. Well, we'll have to consider. Gosh, we'll have to consider these options later because I'm really wondering where that would go. But I don't want to keep you too long because I know we are already a little bit over where we said we were going to be. And you do have a sleeping family at home, so I don't want to keep you
Well, I was actually, the reason why I'm exhausted right now is because I was playing paintball today for the first time.
Oh.
It was
How'd it go?
it was awesome. I mean, I was super terrified at first because you walk in and people are for real in there, man. Like people dress up in like full camo and they've got like emblems and patches and like I'm like, holy crap, I am just gonna get lit up here and it's gonna be the worst thing ever. I have some pretty cool welts. Got my right arm is sort of swelling up a little bit, so that was fun. But I was out there with does anybody know well, I'm sure people know who Xanthi Wynn is. And I were out there in the trenches together and it was pretty cool.
Ooh. That's pretty awesome. Well,
that was my fun for today, but yeah, I'm pretty tired.
Yeah.
well, Shucks, I'll let you go then if you'd like. I did want to know if there's anything specific
it's going by too fast. It said
sorry.
Ephraim.
Oh, Slime Goomy said and athletic. Let me clarify my athleticism. So I'm out there on the paintball field. I've got my gun, and I'm wearing a vest, which is not that heavy. The gun's not that heavy, and a helmet that's not that heavy. I started running to try and go from one cover to another cover, right? And by creating some forward momentum, I'm in such bad shape, my legs actually couldn't support the weight of my body. Moving, I was running and trying to right myself, but I kept falling more and more forward and eventually just face planted.
Oh no.
That's how athletic I am. That's for everybody to marvel at.
I couldn't even imagine that. With everything else that you do and the pictures I've seen of you on Twitter, I understand if you're not, running 12 miles every morning when you wake up. Oh man, falling on your face.
It was so embarrassing that I'm going to commit to working out now because it was just sort of one of those dad moments where you're like, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. I have to get some self-respect back here.
Also, like I said, I would say, as a dad, I completely sympathize with you.
That's right. So anyway, thanks guys so much for having me. Everybody who's listening, please donate. It's such a great cause. These guys are so awesome what they're doing, and it's really, really nice to chat with you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Greg, for hopping in, supporting us again this year. It's really awesome to have you on board. And if people want to get in touch with you and they tweet at you or something, I apologize because we've been shouting and spamming your Twitter all day. We look forward to definitely following you and the things that you do in your projects, especially when next year your exciting projects come out and we all learn what they are. I'm super curious. As soon as it happens, I'm going to call you out for holding it back, but I know you have to.
Yeah, you will. For next year being back here at the same time, and I can talk about all that stuff, and it's going to be great. Thank you guys all so much.
All right. Good night, Greg. Thank you again.
Yep.
Good
Thanks
night.
for coming. Good night, man.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Ephraim. Ephraim.